So, first of all, I'd like to say thank you to all those that responded to my last video about the new kind of Mandela effects that I've found, or possible Mandela effects. Whether they are actually a personal Mandela effect or something that a group of people remember, I don't know at this particular moment, which is a good thing. What I want to talk about in this video, and I've been doing a lot of research into this phenomenon now for the last 6 to 8 months, and I suppose when I first looked into it, probably about a year ago now, there wasn't as much of an explosion as there has been throughout 2016, and I kind of want to draw together a few connections regarding this phenomena and really sort of explain why I personally don't feel it is actually a bad thing. I feel that since learning about reality shifts and learning about this phenomena, it has actually helped me to become more empowered and step within my own personal power. And I feel that part of the reason why a lot of people are having this experience is because of this kind of spiritual awakening that's happening throughout the world, and has been happening gradually, although it's picking up pace quite significantly over the last 20 or 30 years or so. It's happening because of the interest that people have in their spirituality, in themselves as a representation of consciousness, and the interest that we have had in almost like self-development. And yet what I feel many are failing to give the connection, make the connection between, is what we feel inside is what's manifested outside. And over the last several years, we've had revelations after revelations after revelations of all these different things that are happening in our world politics, in institutions around us, and all these different things. And what I feel is necessary, because the amount of videos and stuff I see on YouTube where people are uncovering something or talk about something, talk about a revelation that's happening, is that, you better wake up because this is happening. What I personally believe is you can't wake someone else up. For the simple fact is that the idea of a spiritual awakening is not a badge of honor. Like some people, I am more awake than you. Yes. Yeah. I have more information in my mind than you do, so I am more awake. So you better wake up or honor my awakeness, because my awakeness is bigger than your awakeness, and all this bullshit that goes around. And you get others then that are uncovering and planting seeds and sort of giving all this information out, and like, well, what can you do about it? Well, you can wake up. Okay, I can wake up, cool. Then what do I do? Right. I could not comply with a system that has been around for, generation after generation after generation. But an awakening, irregardless of whether it's spiritual, political, paranormal, whether it's the fact that you're going through things like the Mandela Effect, or having different revelations, being drawn to different people and different speakers, it starts with you. Okay? It starts from you, from within inside you. This is why it's called an awakening. It's a part of you that's waking up. You can't put a finger on it. You can't sort of say, well, that's it. That's what's happening. Because once the genie is out of the bottle, once Pandora's out of the box, you can almost become absorbed in it and absorbed in the feel of it. And this is what I'm seeing in so many different like alternative communities, in the paranormal community, the obsession with the negative sides of it. Now you need to know about the negative sides of anything, because negativity is just, you know, the flip side of positivity. It's both sides of the same coin. You can't have light without darkness. But what you've got to ask yourself is what this personally means to you. When people are having this misremembering or remembering events differently, there's almost like there's a feeling inside you that just something feels wrong. And that feeling I've recognised. It's when I see something, I have the same feeling when I've had revelations that have been about, you know, more political stuff. I've had revelations of things to do with the paranormal, for example. It has to be observed from the inside out. And you've got all these people going out Cern doing all this sort of stuff and playing with dark matter and stuff. Right, okay. If it is that, and you know, there's a possibility. I'm saying it's a possibility for the simple fact is I don't know. So it is a possibility that that is the case. What are we going to do about it? Okay, we're going to go to Switzerland and we're all going to get pitchforks and we're all going to get giant samurai swords and machine guns and we're going to blow the place up. Or we're all going to sign a petition to a government that's not going to listen to get it shut down. It's about you. An awakening is about you stepping into your power and saying to yourself, right, what is it in my life I'm not prepared to put up to? If you're having whether it's spiritual experiences, whether it's people coming at you with all these different revelations, whether it's Mandela Effect, regardless of what it is, the start of it has to come from within. Because if, for example, you know, you see the life is a box of chocolates scene from Forrest Gump, and you have that feeling that it's intrinsically wrong, what does that mean to you? Not what does it mean to everyone else, what does it mean to you? Why has that happened to you? Why are you having those feelings? Why is it such a big thing? What is life, I guess, then, or the universe, trying to tell you? And what does that mean for you? Because this is the biggest issue, and especially with alternative, especially the more spiritual alternative communities, is the way in which people want to give their power over, whether you give it to God or you give it to Jesus or some sort of Messiah, or whether you give it to, you know, a government body that can kill you at a moment's notice, or you give it to whoever you want to give your power to, or you are giving your power to. What I feel when you see these reality shifts happening around you, to me personally, what the universe is actually showing me is a way of me creating and taking that power back, standing within your power, standing within yourself, your own personal, excuse me, got itchy eye, your own personal power. And that's where the awakening comes to, because then you'll understand your intuition. You're not giving your power over to... this is not to say that, like, spirit guides, there's a lot of stuff I've done on spirit guides on this channel, there's a lot of stuff I've done, you know, on loved ones in spirit. I personally work as a medium. You know, this is not to say that you can't seek advice or work with, you know, these different forces or different groups. but your power, it doesn't necessarily mean that they want your power. They want who you are. They want your obedience or whatever. They want you to step inside who you are and be the person that you are. Because this is what understanding reality shifts as, and I've noticed this and started researching this quite heavily in the last 6 months. And 2016 for me has been almost like the cycle that I've talked about many times on this channel, with the different energy shifts that have been happening. All these energy shifts are essentially the energetic vibration of the old breaking down. Old patterns, old things breaking down. So whether it's two ways you can look at it, whether you're recognizing something differently, or whether something has actually shifted or changed, though it's fascinating and it's intriguing, it doesn't matter at all unless you look at it from the point of view of the self. How is this affecting? Why am I having this experience? Why is it happening to me? What am I being shown by this experience? I'll tell you a story. One of the biggest connections that I've drawn this year is the amount in which our thoughts create our reality. And I was absolutely furious one night, and it was about 2 weeks ago now. I was just in a really, really bad mood, and I was like, I'm sick of hearing this, your thoughts create your reality. So I thought, right, I want to see if this actually scientifically checks out. And I found a blog, which I'll put in the description below, and I found it very intriguing, because there's actually almost like there's a science to back it up, because obviously your thoughts, your thought processes create neural pathways. This is why people who are smokers have a great deal of difficulty in giving up smoking. It's because it's almost like the least path of resistance. When you're stressed, you'll have a fag. When you're happy, you'll have a fag. Doesn't matter whatever you do, you'll have a fag. You want to go to bed early, well, have a fag first. That's the kind of thinking. That's the mentality of a smoker. Like, as a smoker myself, that's my own mentality. And that's like when the times I've tried to quit, that's the hardest thing is getting over that sort of mental craving, because the actual physical craving passes after a few days. But the fact that you have always done it, or for a long time, have actually always had a fag whenever you're stressed, whenever you're feeling happy, whenever you're having fun. As I said, the first thing in the morning, whatever that. I remember a friend saying to me when I was quitting smoking once. She said, "What is that one cigarette that really gets you?" It's like, there's always one in the day, it's like the hardest. And I think mine was after food, after eating. I always have a cigarette after eating. And that was that is the biggest one for me. It's because your mind, from almost a physical perspective then, is creating those pathways. Now it's not just happening with smoking, it's happening with your thoughts, the way that you react to certain situations. It's all, when we say, you'll see many who've talked about this, the way we've been programmed, it is actually physically true. Your brain is wired, it's physically programmed to act in a certain way. If you don't believe me on this, look at your responses to certain stimulation. Like, if someone is nasty or negative to you, how do you respond? Almost be objective about it. Be aware of your own thoughts and kind of step back from it and say, how am I responding to this? How am I, what's this actually doing to me? And I suppose the best explanation for this, I think, comes in Celestine prophecy when he talks about behaviour from like a spiritual perspective. But you will respond in a certain way unless you actually become aware of that, because you kind of get to a point where, especially if you achieve like a almost meditative state or still mind, you can almost step back and once you're used to being in that meditative state, you can step back and actually look at your thoughts. How are your thoughts? What sort of reactions are they giving at me? Because you are not your thoughts. There's like a separation there. There's a separation. You can stand back and you can almost listen to your own thoughts, as long as you make the choice to do so whenever you're in like whatever situation that you're in. You know, the hardest time to do it is when someone's being antagonistic towards you, because you know, if someone's being nasty towards me, for example, my first response would be to defend myself, or you know, go on the attack myself. Whether that, you know, I am not a person of physical prowess by any stretch of the imagination. So my way of defending myself would either be aloof, or you know, to go into like almost like a poor me cycle. Especially historically, that is the case. Much more different now. When I'm in an antagonistic situation now, what I seek to do, it doesn't always happen, but what I seek to do is to step back and see which is the best way to look at the situation. If I have to argue, I'll argue to a conclusion. Our thoughts program our brain, and our brain influences our behaviour. So our behaviour then influences how we are seen, or how are we reacted to in different social circles. Everything that we understand or interact with in our reality involves other people, involves other life forms. So it's animals, people, insects, doesn't really matter, right? So essentially then, there is an actual process to how your thoughts influence your reality. What I feel reality shifts, and if I hadn't experienced this for myself, I wouldn't have believed it. But it's the same with every other bit of you know, everything I've put on the paranormal on this channel, all the different cases. If I had never experienced it firsthand, I would never have believed it. I would, because I'd have no basis to be able to believe it. So when you're actually experiencing these shifts, what are they telling you about you? What power are they giving you? Because you can draw personal power from them. Because my first instinct when I seen that Star Trek episode I mentioned on the other video, and I'll link, if you're watching this video for the first time, I'll link to that video in the description below, and I'll link to it at the end of this video too, okay? But when I first experienced a Mandela Effect, the first response is fear. Because it's like, for example, if I jumped out of an airplane with a parachute on, I'd never done it before, what's my first response going to be? Fear. That's what fear is. It's basically almost like it's a protection mechanism that allows us to, you know, make sure that we don't run off a cliff or put our hand into a burning furnace, or, you know. But if I landed to Earth and everything was fine, and I'd done that like 100 times, you might find that though you'll still have the fear will be less. I suppose more, you know, I've never parachuted off a plane, so that's a supposition. So I'll give you something I can guarantee. What has shifted in my reality is working on stage. When I'm working up in front of a room full of 100, 200 people, you know, I used to be absolutely terrified, and I was for a period of about 2 years. When I do it now, that fear, that nerves is still there, but I actually use that. Because I use it in the sense of, this is going to be fun. I actually use that energy. I transform that energy. One of the ways that I do that is through meditation. So if you're one way of like transmuting fear is to visualize in a meditative state the time before you're going to go into a fearful situation, and imagine yourself putting energy, good energy, or see it as water, and fill up a glass of water. Before the event, have a glass of water, drink the physical glass of water, and also in your mind, drink the energetic glass of water which you've put there through visualization. It helps your mindset. It changes your mindset. So this is why I feel it's not a bad thing, because obviously there is a design behind it. There's something, it's happening to you for a reason. When you're seeing these changes, and some of these changes actually make a bit more sense. I'll go back to the life is like a box of chocolates. Now take this from a scriptwriting perspective. When Forrest Gump sat on the bench and he's just lost his mum, he said, "My mother always said life was like a box of chocolates." He's talking about his mum in the past tense, so it actually makes sense. Now, irregardless of whether that's one of the things I've noticed, especially the ones that have actually culturally changed or people are seeing as culturally changed. It's like the Star Wars, Luke, I am your father. There's plenty of people that remember Darth Vader actually saying, "Luke, I am your father," and there's interesting. There's a way of me physically explaining that would probably negate any Mandela effect, because memory is malleable. It's like, it's not like it's irrevocably influenced by emotion and how you feel. If I asked you about a memory today and then asked you in 4 weeks' time and say it was a memory of something happened yesterday, the way you recount it is going to be slightly different. And because, especially if you feel insecure in self, if someone points out those discrepancies, you're going to feel like, you're going to feel a little bit of an empty, like. And I suppose that's the biggest thing, because when the more you step into your power, the less you care about what other people think. Especially, I only care about the people now that I care about. I just care about people, but I don't care what they think about me. Because at the end of the day, they're going to think something different tomorrow anyway. So, yeah. The Star Wars one, let's take that one for example, where Darth Vader says, "Obi-Wan never told you about my father," and Luke replies, "He said you killed him." If he says, "Luke, I am your father," from a scriptic point of view, it doesn't really make sense. And to be fair, with George Lucas's script writing, I wouldn't be surprised if he originally did say, "Luke, I am your father." But the actual fact of him saying, "No, I am your father," in a sense, the conversation between the characters actually does make more sense. Now, because that was such a defining moment in the franchise and the way that people actually reacted to it, and I've explained this in my previous video, it could all be the case that people remember, "Luke, I am your father," because that's the way it would have been repeated. But who's to say? To be perfectly honest, I don't really remember the scene that clearly enough to say whether it was one or the other. So, again, what I'm finding is when people are seeing these shifts, they can be absolutely fascinating, and sometimes they can make as if the world is becoming a little bit more, as if it's making sense. Link it back to the awakening I was mentioning earlier on in the video. Is it because a part of us collectively is making more sense of the world? Making more sense of how the world is from us? So I suppose after, if you're still here and you haven't turned off the video after my ramblings for the last 25 minutes or so, Let me know what you think in the comments below. I've had some fascinating conversations with people in the comment sections of these videos, and I'd just like to say thank you to each and every one of them. Each and every one of you guys for the interactions. Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing? And do you think the Mandela Effect and the spiritual awakening, or the truth vibrations is another way they've been called, and these energy shifts, do you think they're actually all linked? And if it does, if it is, then what do you think, what has it meant for you? What has experiencing this meant for you? Thank you very much for watching, guys. I'm Jared Walters. My website is www.spiritualworlds.co.uk. I am a medium and do offer readings. And I'll see you all. Well, one last thing. If you do like this video, give it a like, give it a share. Please feel free. If it has been beneficial to you, let me know. Thank you very, very much. And I'll see you next time with another video. Take care.